Hi, I'm Jan Temple Jones. I'm happy to be with you here today. I'm actually a United Church minister, and I moved here to Owen Sound just not quite 2 years ago, in the end of May 2020. So I haven't been in this area very long. I moved during myself and my husband and son. We moved here during the pandemic, the beginning of the pandemic. I wouldn't recommend that. Moved from Regina, Saskatchewan, and so we're relatively new to this area. And my role is as a spiritual care practitioner, and I work 25 hours a week at Owen Sound Hospital and 15 hours a week here at Chapman House Residential Hospice of Grey Bruce. So I've been doing this really since about 2002. I started my CPE journey in about 2003 and was
CPE,
certified.
just a minute.
Sorry, yes, CPE.
It's a CPE is.
So I started my clinical pastoral education journey in about 2003 and was certified as a spiritual care practitioner in 2009 with the Canadian Association of Spiritual Care. So I've been doing this for a long time, for a lot of years in various venues. Worked many years in inpatient mental health. I've worked in hospice, palliative care. I've worked in long-term care, providing spiritual care. And like I said, and just not quite 2 years ago, moved here to Owen Sound. Yeah.
So what do you do? What does the role entail?
Okay. My primary role, both here at hospice and also at the hospital, is to spend time with patients and their families. And in doing that, helping people with whatever is coming to mind in terms of their concerns about spiritual care in particular, or their spirituality in particular, those questions about meaning and purpose in people's lives, their concerns and worries about their health and well-being, and certainly about their spiritual health and well-being. And so it's helped people work through those kind of larger existential questions that people have when they're ill or facing points of transition in their lives, and transition too from life to death.
So how does the work in the hospice differ from the work in the hospital?
Well, from a really practical point of view, Chapman House has 8 resident beds. So it's obviously much smaller than the Owen Sound Hospital. The focus here is particular too. For the most part, people come here for care in the final days or sometimes final weeks of their lives, whereas in the hospital, while there are people in similar situations, there are many other people with many other kinds of needs. So that's what I mean by the care is very focused here. I would say too that the pace at Chapman House is different than at the hospital as well. There's kind of more of a sense of calm and peace here. Another difference is that each resident room has a separate small bedroom so that a family member can stay with them while they're in hospice and can sleep in the bed overnight and so on. So it's just a different environment overall. And certainly while this does happen at the hospital too, I would say there's more often the opportunity to engage both residents and family members in those deeper spiritual existential conversations, those conversations, as I was saying, about meaning and purpose and life and death.
Mm-hmm. And how has COVID shifted things in the hospice?
Well, just like everywhere, there have been restrictions in terms of visitors that that I would say that's primarily the big issue, especially for residents. And that changes. It seems like daily. It's not really, but it just feels like that. So currently, people can have 2 designated visitors in with them. So unlike the hospital, at the moment, people can't have any visitors. So there is a small difference there in terms of people having access to their family members. And of course, we all have to wear these masks, as everybody's been wearing masks and shields. And so that makes it more difficult for everybody to engage. And when you can't see people's faces, if you can't, especially for people who are hearing impaired, and sometimes they need to see your mouth in order to hear, and that can be a challenge as well. So, we're all sick and tired of COVID, right?
Yes, we are.
So, access to our people, connection. I think that's the thing that's really changed. There are a lot of volunteers who work here at Hospice, and so they've been in and now they're out again. And so there's not that interaction either, if for either the staff or for the residents.
Mhm. Thank you. Yeah. So what do you find most rewarding about working in a hospice setting?
I think with both hospice and hospital work, for me, it's absolutely meeting with patients and residents and their family members. That's the most rewarding thing for me. I have the privilege of engaging with and learning about all kinds of different people, and I really do meet very interesting people every single day. So that's really the very best thing, as far as I'm concerned. And here at Chapman House, I also offer bereavement follow-up. So I train and support a group of volunteers who make follow-up bereavement telephone calls at the 1 month, 3, 6, and 12-month anniversaries after the death of someone here. I also co-facilitate with a retired registered nurse who worked here, a bereavement support group that's open to anyone. It's not just for people who've had a loss here at Chapman House, but anybody in the community. And I think that's a really important piece, that care continues to be offered and provided to people after the death of a loved one. And we're trying, from hospice to extend that into the community more and more. So, yeah.
So is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
Well, I would just like to thank the people of Southampton United Church for supporting my work as a spiritual care practitioner here at Chapman House, but also at the hospital, and for supporting all of the people, the chaplains and spiritual care providers who work in the hospitals of Grey and Bruce. I was thinking about the words from that. It's probably considered old now. Hymn in the United Church hymn book, the offering hymn. Your work, O God, needs many hands to help you everywhere. And some there are who cannot serve unless our gifts we share. And so I thank you to everybody for the gifts and the works of your hands that support me, and by extension, support those who are living and dying here at Chapman House.